My name is Jennifer Pharr Davis from Blue Ridge Hiking Company, and I'm here with Chaotic Careers. When I got out of school, I didn't know what I wanted to do, where I was going to go, what my career was going to look like, and I felt a lot of pressure and anxiety around that. So I really wanted time and place to just make a plan. So growing up in North Carolina, I'd always heard of the Appalachian Trail, and I wasn't a hiker, I wasn't outdoorsy, but I knew it was really long and seemed affordable and sounded like a cool adventure. So I said, well, I'll go hike the trail and figure out my life. So I went out and it kicked my butt. It was like the hardest 5 months ever. And when I got done, the problem was I didn't figure out what I was gonna do. You know, I didn't know where I was supposed to go. But the difference was I had a lot of confidence that no matter what, I was gonna be okay. I went to a city near the Appalachian Trail called Charlottesville, Virginia, because I knew they had a lot of museums, and I applied for jobs there, and I got a job the first week. And one of the cool parts was not only did they see my background and my college experience, but every interview I had, they were like, whoa, tell us about the Appalachian Trail. What was that like? And it really showed people, even though in my mind it was, you know, an adventure and a place to figure things out, it also showed employers that I could do something that was hard, that I could budget, that I could work with different types of people, that I could be resilient. So I worked at a historic house in Charlottesville, Virginia for 2 years, and I loved it. But even though I loved it, my heart, I feel like, was still on the trail. And so after 2 years of working at the museum, which I really enjoyed, I knew that if I wanted to continue in that field, I should probably go back to grad school. But since my heart was on the trail, I thought, well, what I really love more than anything is getting other people outdoors. So this is a good time in life. Like, I'll try to start a hiking company. So at 24, I started Blue Ridge Hiking Company, which is my own small business to get other people outdoors. And it's now 15 years old, and we've helped over 12,000 people outside. And it's been a really rewarding, challenging adventure, and one that I could have never predicted at 21. So I love animals, and our work is kind of chaotic. Like, we travel a lot, we're outdoors a lot. I might travel to give talks, and so we need a really low maintenance pet. And goats you can leave for up to a week with food and water. So it seemed like if we were going to try any animal, that maybe goats would work. So a year and a half ago, we bought 2 baby goats, and they were brown and white. And I have children, and so my daughter said their name should be Coffee and Cream. And I love it because they're out back in a fenced area behind our house, but where I sit and drink my coffee in the morning, I get to see Coffee and Cream. So I sit there drinking my coffee, and goats stare at you, like, even when you're indoors. So usually I'm drinking coffee and they're just like staring and chewing, but they're really great. We're a big fan of goats. You know, I sometimes wonder if I had just hiked for a weekend or a week, I don't know that I would have fallen in love with hiking. So if I had started by dabbling in it, I think maybe it would have been like, oh, that was a good experience, or that was okay. But when I started hiking, I did it for 5 months. I hiked the whole Appalachian Trail when I started hiking. And I think what I got to see was change over time that was really, really powerful. So getting to the end of that journey and feeling like a different person, and overcoming fears. Like, for example, I was so scared of being bored and alone, and then I got out on the trail, and it's the first time in my life I felt like I experienced peace. So having that one, like, very immersive experience, I think showed me how wonderful it could be for all different sorts of people and in different phases of life. I mean, this is weird, but the first thing that comes to mind is I was hiking by myself in Australia, and one of the coolest parts of Australia are the animals, but I guess going over there, I thought kangaroos were cute and cuddly. They're not. They're like ginormous and sort of terrifying when you startle them. And then they have emus, which are like 5-6 foot tall birds. And I hiked around this corner, and I looked ahead, and 30 yards in front of me was this emu. And this like 6 foot tall bird looked at me and started running straight at me. And to add to this, when I was a child, I had like big bird nightmares, right? So I'm like, oh no, and I'm in the middle of Australia. All I have is this like bamboo hiking stick. And I get down in this kung fu position and I think like, this is it. It's me and the emu to the death in Australia. Like, it was the weirdest encounter. And what happened is sometimes wildlife does like a false charge, like runs at you and then, you know, goes in a different direction. So he ran straight at me and then like 5 feet from me, like veered into the woods. So I think that's a really unique experience that not many people have had, for sure. Oh, it's a really heavy answer. I was hiking by myself and came across someone who had committed suicide. So it was on my first hike. I was 21. I had never been face to face with death. And so it was traumatic, terrifying. So I turned and ran away and found help. And talked to police and authorities. But then after that, I was 1,000 miles away from home and friends and family and didn't know what else to do. And I just kept hiking, which sounds a little strange. And looking back, I'm like, maybe I should have gotten counseling. Maybe, you know, as hard as it was, that's when I also realized how powerful physical forward motion is, because there's so many times in life our mind, our emotions, our soul feels heavy and stuck and hurt and like it's never gonna change. And sometimes the most hopeful thing you can do is like physically just put one foot in front of the other. And so finding that and realizing that and knowing how therapeutic it could be for other people really helped, I think, confirm that I wanted to spend a lot of time and energy helping people find this tool that can be so helpful for many different things in life, including therapy. Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I feel like I have so many. Right now with work stuff, I think about people who are in conservation or the outdoor world just doing really impactful work. There's two people, Will Harlan, he is an environmental activist and he does a lot of work for wildlife and he writes these amazing stories and books that give underrepresented voices in the outdoors space to tell their stories. So I love learning from him. And there's another person, Jay Lutzy, and he helps lobby for really important laws and bills and funding to protect clean water and national parks. And so it's so amazing to have people who you feel inspired by and look up to, especially when they're willing to get a cup of coffee with you. So that's like a unique relationship. But then I think even reading books or learning about history, like every time I see a movie or read a book or hear about Harriet Tubman, I'm like, man, like she was powerful, you know? So I think inspiration can come from a lot of different places. Oh, that's a good question. I think the main point I always try to communicate is that we are a part of nature, because that was what transformed my life. I mean, I didn't think that growing up. I thought nature was out the window, out there, a tree, a plant, a flower. And then when I realized, like, biologically, spiritually, there's no separation between us as humans and nature, like, we're all connected, it made me feel beautiful and wild, and it made me feel responsible for people, made me feel responsible for environment. And so seeing the world through that lens is significant. And I encourage people to at least try on those glasses.
Hey guys! Thank you so much for clicking on this week's video and tuning in to listen to our special guest, Jennifer Pharr Davis. Getting to talk with her was truly a delight for me, and getting to learn from her experience both in life and on the Appalachian Trail. Her story is one that truly highlights that if you keep moving forward in life, you will usually end up right where you're supposed to be without even realizing it. And while you're continuing down your journey, please don't forget to come see us down at the Center for Career and Leadership Development. We're always there and trying to make your walk as smooth and easy as possible. Now, with all that being said, until next time, stay chaotic, Mocs.